Okay, we are live today with the sophisticated man. What's up, buddy?
What's up, brother? Good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you again. Rock and roll. And today we want to talk to you guys about what can be the cause of your depression in life, and then how you can deal with that particular depression. And I'm going to start things off by saying a lot of the things that can cause us as men to be depressed is when we fail. We have all these ideas. We want to become this, we want to become that, and we kind of fail to act upon that. And because of not acting upon that, it causes us to kind of get down on ourselves and everything. I mean, I don't know. I can speak for myself because I remember at one point in my life, I wanted to go do all this and all that. And, I didn't do it. And, it caused me to become more frustrated. And I realized when I started to, kind of take some of the actions, I guess it was that build, because all that frustration built up, I should say, that like it, kind of encouraged me to take more action in my life.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to that too. Not having my stuff figured out. There was a point in college where I didn't know what I wanted to do. Kind of moving forward with my future, um,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of sitting around not knowing that, getting frustrated with school because like I wasn't enjoying it, not taking action on things that I was actually passionate in. That just adds to that level of anxiety, that level of stress, that level of like depression a guy might feel. And there's a quote out there that I always kind of refer back to because it makes so much sense. Like inaction breeds fear and doubt, and action breeds confidence and certainty. Like when you're not taking action, you're just like maybe sitting around thinking of an idea or like thinking of something you want to do. It creates all these excuses of why maybe you can't do it. It creates all that fear and it exists all in your mind. But when you're doing it,
Mm-hmm.
when you're taking that action, you're moving forward, you're not fearful because when you're not overthinking when you're actually moving and taking action. So that's the momentum itself literally pulls you out of that thought process and you're in the present.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree though. Like, because I can say speak for my going back to my situations. Just when I started to finally like act upon things in my life, it helped me to. I don't know. I did feel a sense of confidence, and I felt better about myself because I finally took it upon myself to do what I said I was going to do. And I may have not have gotten the result that I wanted, but I did it, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And it like even when it like I can when I was learning to just be more confident and just approach women when I was able to finally talk to women outside of a nightclub environment and everything, and just have a random conversation at when I was out at like a grocery store or out at the mall or whatever, even though I may have not have gotten the number right, or closed properly, the fact that I did it, opened up that doorway for myself, believing that I could do more, not just with women, but with other things that I've been afraid to do in my life.
Mhm. Yeah, because like you said, it all ties back to your self trust. Like if you continually tell yourself that you're gonna, maybe let's say for example, wake up at 6 in the morning, or you're gonna talk to that girl at the grocery store or go to the gym consistently, and you don't do it, that erodes your self trust. You start to doubt your own word. Like after a while, you just don't really believe what you say anymore, and that could be a dangerous place.
Hmm.
It kills your confidence. It kills your like your inner belief in yourself that you can do something. So all that stuff adds up. All that really culminates, I think, into guys having like massive anxiety and having these depressive bouts of like, oh man, I'm a failure. I can't do this. Um, so it even if, like you said, even if it doesn't net you the result you're initially looking for, just taking that step in that direction is going to fill you with confidence and like give you some hope. It'll make you feel good
Hmm.
good about yourself.
Right. And I see, and it's interesting because, say, when I'm starting to take action on things and I find myself like slacking off, and I'll get to a point where I'm thinking to myself, like, well, hey, like, I'm not getting anywhere with this. And then I think about like the actions that I've taken, And when I see that I haven't taken the necessary amount of action, it kind of like says, well, hey, I got to get off my ass and start taking action again.
Hmm. Yeah, like it's crazy because like as men, we're designed basically to like get up and go do something. We're designed to create something or to move forward. Like masculinity is about progression, about moving, and that could be progression in anything. I mean, if you're not doing something and you're continually taking action, you're seeing small incremental progress with it, you're gonna feel like, wow, like, I'm wasting my time. What am I doing here? Like it's like the saying goes, like if you're not growing, you're dying. So like it's really up to you what you want to focus on. It's like taking the action and doing something that even though it is scary, it's gonna net you a positive result. Or do you want to open that bag of chips and just kind of lay around all day and not take action and further
Hmm.
feed into your own misery essentially? And
Hmm.
that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I don't know, where do you where do you think a lot of like we get lost in? Like, do you think, I don't know, we have, we want to take action, but do you think it's just like a mindset issue that causes us from not wanting to take action, or we maybe we just don't have no direction?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it could be multiple things. Like you pointed out, just lack of reference experience. So if you tell a guy, "Hey man, go approach that girl," and like whatever, he's like, "Well, I've never done that before. I don't know how that looks or how that would go." Just not having experience is going to make you doubt yourself and make you not want to go out and take action on something because you just don't know what you don't know. Um,
Hmm.
I think another piece of it too is just like lack of like confidence in yourself because you don't believe that you can do it. Like you just start to doubt your abilities and your competence, and I think that comes back to not being experienced or not being uncomfortable enough because that's a big problem. I think that maybe encompasses a lot of this is there's a lot of comfort in society nowadays, which is there's some good to it. Not good. Don't get me wrong. Like obviously, I love a good pizza every once in a while, but you need to put yourself more in uncomfortable situations so you know how to deal with that challenge and deal with being uncomfortable because that shapes you, that builds that
Hmm.
confidence and that confidence in yourself, and that's really the only way. You don't do it by being comfortable.
Right, that's true. I just wanted to say hi to James Brown here. He just entered the chat. So hi, James. What up, man? Peace. Welcome to the
James Brown,
show.
love your
You
music, man.
guys,
It's awesome.
guys, anytime like during the interaction, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them up in the chat here, and we will help you answer those questions for you. I mean, we're just here to like help guide you guys and everything, get you on the right path. So just any question you have about what we're talking about or anything, just like put it in the comments here, and we'll answer that.
Like, yeah.
But anyways, so no, I just want to say, but I don't know, like, so how do we go about getting that experience? Like, so if we, so would you say like, okay, so we want to either learn how to become good with women, but we can go online to YouTube to learn how to talk to girls, right? But
Hmm.
then again, you're watching something, but you still might not want to take the action because, like, again, you don't have that the habit of taking that action.
Hmm.
And there when you can sometimes get down on yourself, like say you like, because I've
Yeah.
been this, I remember when I was going to YouTube and stuff trying to learn all this shit, like I go watch them, like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there and practice that, but then I wouldn't do it because it was a mindset thing, or I had no one to hold me accountable for that.
Hmm.
And eventually I had to find so and eventually I had to find someone to hold me accountable for that, and that's when I started doing it. And even when I'm now that I'm, I don't really need someone to hold me accountable. I kind of hold myself accountable for that stuff. When I know when I'm slacking off, I have to tell myself to get off my butt and just start taking action.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you brought up a really good point about sometimes the dangers of watching too many YouTube videos and getting stuck in that loop because like you, I've been there too, where we watch a bunch of videos and you feel good about yourself and you're like, man, I'm gonna go do this now too, and then you never take the action, but because you're hit with all that dopamine from the video and you feel good in the moment, you're like, yo, I can do anything, but as soon as the video stops playing, it's like, well, I'm kind of in the same spot that I was. I didn't move any closer to my goals.
Mm-hmm.
Because watching videos, it's great to get like insights and maybe like acquire some knowledge that you didn't have. But if you don't apply that knowledge and you don't actually go out on the field and test it out for yourself, you're never actually going to reach your goals and actually move closer. So it can be dangerous if you're stuck in that pattern of watching video after video after video and never like going out and doing it. And it keeps you in that cycle because, like you said, hiring a coach or someone to really help you stay accountable to what you want to do, which are your goals, that makes all the difference. um, it's a huge shift from just watching a video online.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and see, then again, too, like when you want to go out and take that action, you're like, say you're watching all those YouTube videos, or you're trying to get some experience in that, and you want to go do that, and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna do it, but when you don't do it, that can lead to you being kind of depressed and shit, because like you just kind of get down on yourself. You built up all these expectations, like you were saying, for yourself to go out there, take that action, and then you don't do it.
Hmm. Yeah, and it comes back to like just damaging your own self-trust and your integrity in yourself. Like you said you're going to go and talk to that girl outside, or you said you're going to go to the gym this day but you didn't. And that kind of further, I guess, digs a deeper hole for you because you're now doubting that even when you say you're going to do something, in the back of your mind, like, I might not do it. You're going to doubt your own word. So like,
Mm-hmm.
I think a good thing to do is, like, even if it's very, very small, I think we talked about this before, but taking very small baby steps. Like, if going and talking to a girl is super intimidating, or maybe signing up for a gym membership right now is like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do all that. Just go to one class, or go to a free pass at the gym, or start in terms of women, like start with just making and holding eye contact with them, saying hi as you walk by, like just doing simple things, and then it eventually
Mm-hmm.
leads into a bigger action from that. So it's not
Right.
like you gotta attack the whole pie at once. You can start with some crumbs.
Right. Now, what would you say with someone? Okay, yeah, they can set up that action step for themselves, but what would you say if their mindset is not in the right place? Like, what would you say if they kind of get to that point? Well, I want to do this, but
Mm.
I'm worried that X, Y, A, B, C will happen, or I want to create this, but I have this background. What would you have to say to someone like that to kind of encourage them to, like, just get rolling forward with everything?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would want them to see like what their current limiting beliefs are, because everything that you mentioned, I mean, it really comes down to like their own ability to limit what they can do. So I would want them to get clear with what that stuff is. Like, call it out. If you think you're too short, maybe you think you're not good looking enough, you think you're whatever, not strong enough or something, call that out
Mm-hmm.
and be like, hey, that's that thought right there. That doesn't have to be my actual reality. That's just what exists in my mind. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
and you can literally go out and disprove your own beliefs. Like, there was a point when I was really young, but there was a point where I didn't think I was like attractive enough to talk to girls and hold a conversation and like actually get a girl interested in me. But doing enough reps and like just being being in my life experience, all the people that I've talked to, and the women that I've met, that turned out not to be true because I just been working on myself and really crushing my own belief system. So first,
Mm-hmm.
I would say first, like, get clear with what is holding you back mentally. Have it on a piece of
Yeah,
paper or something.
yeah, I have you guys just like write down, okay, like, okay, figure out like especially when it comes to women, whatever it is, figure out your goals, then figure out, well, what are your limiting beliefs about you obtaining this goal, correct?
Hmm. Right, because we all have them. We all have limiting beliefs. I mean, no matter who it is, it depends on what form we have.
Mm-hmm. And then we go out there and challenge those beliefs, and we kind of see for we have to like kind of see for ourselves, well, hey, we can't, we got to say, well, hey, if something goes right, we can say to ourselves, well, hey, this is not true, this, we can really go out and do this.
Exactly.
I know, then you kind of feel stupid to yourself because you're like thinking, you thought you're like, you believed this thing about yourself for so long that you're just like, oh shit.
Hmm. yeah, you break out of your own paradigm and you realize like, holy shit, I mean, so much more is possible than I thought. And that's like it's an
Hmm.
amazing feeling. Like I remember recently, um, I had this paradigm for a minute where I thought that only girls would be interested in me if I was with charismatic friends or with people that I was with, and that was kind of what would intrigue them. And I went out alone one time and had an amazing moment. I think I said that on one of the previous lives we had. Just had a great time. Like, just was being social with everybody, felt really good, and crushed that limiting belief. I was like, yo, I don't need anybody with me. I could be by myself and still have fun and still have a good interaction. So it's just like, yeah,
Right.
no
Yeah.
problem.
Exactly. We got a question here in the chat from James. He said he bought. Let me let's put this one. Click on him here. He's saying, "I just got a new program with like 30 plus modules. I'm passionate about it, but I have no desire to do it. I don't know why I can't start. What type of program is it, James?
Yeah. Yeah, I was curious of what kind of program it was too.
Yeah, can you put that in the chat so we can have more clarification and then we can help answer your question?
Mm,
That'd be great. But no, so yeah, I was gonna say, but yeah, I mean, we all gotta just figure out what our limiting beliefs are and then like act upon that, just take action. Like, yeah, I haven't done this in a while, but I got to do this. But I used to go out a lot too by myself without having to
mhm,
rely on friends. I can just go out there and meet some people and have a good time without having to rely on people, my friends, if they couldn't make it out. And it was
mhm,
always a great time. And
yeah.
it's weird. Like a lot of people, I don't know. They always, I don't know. Like I'm in a particular part of Arizona, as I'm surrounded by a bunch of cool cities, but they make some people make judgments about these other people in the other cities. And
Mhm.
then you got to go out there and challenge your belief system on that.
Yeah, yeah, there's sometimes people that are very, I guess, like territorial, and they think, oh, well, I'm from this part of the town, like, you don't, you don't belong here. You don't, you can't have fun out this way. But I guess every once in a while you'll run into people like that, and I'd say they're probably suffering from a lot of like limiting beliefs themselves, and they're projecting some of
Hmm.
that onto you. Um,
Yeah.
so it's best to just kind of ignore them and not associate with people like that. Just do your best to kind of stay away from them.
Yeah, no, I hear it. Yeah, no, you gotta like. I think too, you gotta like not let another thing too is you can't let other people tell you how to run your life too, because I
Hmm.
think that can be a
Yep.
good, you know, we feel like when other people tell us we have to do this or do that, we have to live up to other people's expectations, and
Right.
that could really uh, be frustrating for like some people who want to do something else, and it can cause them to get depressed.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. You live somebody else's life, that's a recipe for disaster.
Right, yeah. So James like finally put a response here, like modules for story building, audience hacks, and reference, etc. So I guess he has 30 plus modules that he's passionate about, but I think it seems like there's a lot and he's overwhelmed.
Hmm.
It's it's
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought. Like 30 plus modules. That's a big program. I'd be curious, like, what initially attracted to you or attracted you to that program? Like, what was the initial buy-in for you? Like, what are you trying to get better at, or what skill are you trying to learn?
well, it looks like it's for audience hacks. Looks like it's audience hacks reference. That's what he said. Modules for story building. I'm thinking like communication. Am I correct on this, James? But no, definitely. Like, well, I mean, I would not be overwhelmed by your modules, James, and just like tackle one bit module at a time. It seems like you're overwhelmed by all this stuff. It's 30 plus modules, and the modules can be really big. So I would just find time a certain time each day where you can at least start working on these modules. If you have to put like 20 minutes a day aside each day, or you can put like 30 minutes to an hour aside each day, and if you can just put that time in every day, or just certain days over the week where you can put some time into you doing your thing, then yeah, you can definitely tackle that down. Like, I just recently got done working on a book, and at first I was like, I don't want to do this because it seems overwhelming and everything. And I just decided, well, hey, I'm going to develop the discipline to set aside some time, like 20 to 30 minutes each day, a certain amount of times during the week, and just start writing. And that's what you can do for your thing too. So I mean, you don't want to rush through the program and stuff, but I guess it's for songwriting. That's what
Hmm.
he was saying it's for.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I've noticed in my life too recently, like once you put something in your schedule and you have it planned and you're ready to go, it becomes real. So like set time aside, like he said, if it's doesn't have to be super long, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day. Just kind of attack this thing piece by piece because maybe that is what is preventing you from doing it because you see, the whole thing and you're like, holy crap, it's like where do I start? And I definitely had that happen to me before where maybe I started a big book and it's like 500 pages and I'm like, holy shit, like there's no way I'm finishing
A
this.
lot of
Or
pages.
yeah, or like some program where there's like six different lessons and it's all an hour a piece. You just have to break it down into chunks and kind of get attack the thing one by one. I mean, that's what's helped me before to finish like some big project or something.
Hmm. Yeah, and like that's pretty much what you can do, guys, too. When you're afraid to take action in your life, like we were talking earlier, like do small. I would recommend taking small chunks, doing something small that you're going to feel comfortable doing, because that's whatever you feel comfortable doing, it's going to be easy for you. Even if it say, like, for example, if you want to learn how to just talk to women, you can just, like, every time you see a hot girl, just say hi and walk away. Just do that for a while, and then as you get comfortable doing that, like, take yourself to the next level by doing, besides saying hi, think about what else you can do to get the conversation going, and then, like, go out there and do it. And then after you become comfortable doing that, find something else that's going to be even more. I'd say, like, do something difficult after a while, but as you start to build up taking the small easy steps, do something that's going to challenge you, because when you do something that's going to challenge you and you don't want to do it and you actually go out there and do it, you're going to feel fucking good about yourself after you do it, man. I've done that. I've found that it really has helped me a lot. And same, like, and we'll use another example. Just say you want to get rolling on go work out or whatever it is. Like, you don't have to commit to, like, to doing a rigorous workout right away. Go out there, maybe see what, if you want to lose weight or if you need to gain muscle mass. You say you want to lose weight, figure out, well, what's something you can cut down on in your eating, and then actually just cut down on that one thing. And then the same thing with building weight. What is it that you can do to help you build muscle? Like, what fruits with, like, proteins, and have proteins and all these other vitamins, right, that you can take that help you build muscle. Then when you go out to your gym, you might have a busy day, you might be tired, but you still want to dedicate, say, like, at least, like, if you're just starting out, like, 15, 20 minutes, any time will be, amount of time is good. It's just as long as you're doing it.
Hmm.
And that's really, like, again, when you guys build that habit and that consistency again, challenge yourself to dedicate more time into that. And that's how I've learned, as far as getting ahead with certain goals that I found to be difficult. That's what I've learned works for me.
Hmm. Yeah, I would echo that too. Like any time is better than no time at all. Like if you're putting in 10 minutes of action, it's better than literally no time and 0 minutes. You know what I mean? Like just the smallest thing can really lead to massive success. And it's all about getting just 1% better. Like he was saying earlier. I mean, if you're doing something so often and you are taking action, it becomes comfortable. Try to push yourself a little bit. Go to the next step. What is one step past saying hi to a girl and walking away? What's the next step? Maybe start a conversation. Ask her how her day was. Kind of get the ball rolling that way. So it's just about finding incremental ways to level up your progress and make it a little bit harder for yourself each time you go, and never staying complacent because the complacency is what's going to keep you kind of at that current level. It's always about challenging yourself and doing something a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, what would you? Okay, so I guess I kind of answered this earlier then, but say that what could someone do to break out of their comfort zone? But I guess when we answered it earlier by taking an action that you're comfortable with, is there anything else you can think of, or?
Um, yeah, I'd say besides just like taking the action, it sounds really simple, but getting yourself out of the house, I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's probably the easiest action step, but a lot of people neglect it. Literally, just driving to another place, or like getting out of getting off your couch and like get out of watching TV and actually physically going somewhere is the first step for doing anything. So even before taking the action, like just putting yourself in that environment where the potential to take action is there. Because if you're just sitting around on your couch, maybe watching a movie or Netflix, and you're just like eating snacks or whatever, there's no opportunities around. It's just you're at your house. Like put yourself in
Mm-hmm.
that environment so where you actually have the ability to take some action. So I would say just getting out your house is good.
Yeah. No, because I mean you're going into like a different environment.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think so, and I think sometimes too. Like, yeah, if we are the type of people that get stuck in the house all day, like, I mean, and you're not acting upon anything in your life, and like you're saying, just watching movies and stuff, that too can cause a lot of depression, and like it would build up over time
Yep.
because you're probably you have the potential to take your life to the next level, and and you're just getting sucked in through this Netflix and eating snacks, drinking whatever, and you're not doing anything. That you got to like kind of learn to snap out of it, and at least do something that mess up your schedule. Like if you're just
Yeah.
sitting around, like even if you just said go drive somewhere, maybe change something in your routine or something just to snap out of that so you can just like go and learn, get started on something, because you don't want to end up being stuck.
Mhm. It's very easy to do that. It's very easy to be stuck in that same routine and of that monotony, and just be stuck there for a while. Like it's something as simple as like you could even take a different route back home from work one day, or maybe instead of getting lunch at one spot you love and you always go to, try something else, try something new.
Hmm.
It could be something super small like that, um, but the more that you become okay with being uncomfortable and doing things outside of your main routine, you expand yourself and you upgrade your ability to adapt.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, and I think you expand yourself. You kind of can show yourself that you can snap out of like bad habits when you realize that's getting like you really got to do this.
Mhm.
But what would you say too was a point in your life? Then I'll go into. I think I already told you mine, where you just said like you applied all these principles that we're talking about right now. Then maybe we get some examples to our audiences here, like some of our experience they can relate, and then go out and do this stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it was kind of a combination of different things throughout my life, but the biggest change for me was, like I said, when I was in college, not knowing what I wanted to do, graduating with a degree that I didn't really want to use because I wasn't really passionate in that field anymore. I had a lot of time to reflect that summer about what I want to do and who I wanted to be essentially. Um, and honestly, I found inspiration just from watching other people, like this one guy, Corey Wayne. I think I maybe mentioned before. I found
Hmm.
inspiration in his work. Man, he talks a lot about self development, about like bettering yourself as a man, and taking action and following purpose and all this stuff. And these were all like at the time like really new words to me because I wasn't super familiar with that space.
Hmm.
So I ended up taking a massive risk because I was like, yo, coaching sounds super interesting. What is that all about? Research some different programs and different things in my area, found a program in the city I live in, and I just took a chance on it. took a
Mm-hmm.
9-month program to teach me what coaching was. Um, and then after that, like during the process, I kind of came up with a plan of like, okay, I know what coaching is, I'm getting a feel for it. How do I make my unique journey and my brand really stand out? Like, what do I want to stand for? And that's really when I came
Mm-hmm.
up with the idea for the sophisticated man, and like talking about how to build confidence in men, how to create structure in their lives, how to be, a guy on a mission. And it really just came from all the things that I was struggling with in my own life. So really, it just starts with taking like a massive risk in a certain area, maybe not always financially, but a risk in something to where it shakes you out of your comfort zone. Because I never was in a program like that before. I had no idea what coaching was or what I was getting into, but I kind of just took a leap of faith. And then afterwards involved myself with different YouTubers. I did a lot of reach outs. I went to a lot of meetups. I went to a lot of networking events, learned about the industry, learned about what it all takes, and just got
Mm-hmm.
experience that way. So it just takes like really taking that first big leap of faith and just kind of trusting that it'll work itself out.
Right. No, I hear you. No, that's a very interesting story. Like, I know, same here. Like, I kind of was on the same thing. Like, I did self development thing, and then I worked with a bunch of mentors and everything. And like, there were a few, and I got into the YouTube space because a few of them I worked with, like, were that's what they did was the YouTube stuff. And one of my mentor like encouraged me to kind of do the same thing. So get on YouTube, but I put it off for a year though, and you know what? In getting back to like inaction, even though I was I kind of got frustrated at myself because I kept putting this off, and then when I finally did it back in December of last year, I really just it felt great, like I was kicking butt. You know what I'm saying? So that
Mm-hmm.
just goes to show you, like when you go take action on certain things, like yeah, you got to it's gonna like really kind of get you going and give you that flow, and it's gonna get you out of that state of kind of feeling down. But I mean, I don't know. I guess my reason for it too is because I was just getting into so many other things. But I really wanted to do this channel, and I guess like I was just frustrated I wasn't doing it. But I'm just like I'm gonna go do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it just takes that one decision that you make, and being like, all right, I'm gonna finally start this thing, or I'm gonna do this side passion, or I'm gonna start this project, or I'm gonna learn this skill, and just going out and doing it. And I had the same kind of hesitancy to start my YouTube channel for a while. Like, there was a point when I was like making videos on my phone, like just in my car. I would just sit there and just kind of record myself. Never posted it on YouTube, but I just put it on my like Instagram story. Um, and I didn't make it like public, like on my feed or anything. It would just go away after like a day. And I
Hmm.
and I was honestly like kind of intimidated to put it out there to where it stays online so people can like see it and critique it and give me feedback on it. I was definitely intimidated to do that at first.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I hear you. Yeah, that's like I guess
'Cause it's
starting
scary.
like anything, like not just use our story as an example, man. Like see, we're not the only ones who get intimidated and scared when we're trying to do something new,
Sure.
and but you just got to follow through and do it, and just see where it takes you. You
Hmm.
can't let your anxiety about shit and frustration about getting this or that done on this particular time, or like have this. I would say don't have high have expectations, don't set them too high because you're going to have setbacks as you're working on stuff in your life, on your goals or whatever it is you're doing, and you don't want to. You can just kind of just focus on taking the action, focus on what's working, what's not working, the results you're getting from them, and figure out, well, things aren't going according to plan, figure out what you can do to kind of do get a better result of what you're doing for you got to look at it as like being on a on it's something exciting while being on the journey, like an adventure. You can't I mean, yeah, you're gonna get frustrated sometimes, and you're gonna just be like, well, you're gonna start to doubt yourself. But when you have that drive, pick yourself up and move forward with it.
Yeah, and like you said, it's about finding ways to enjoy the process. To just love every bit of it, even when it's not ideal, and you're not taking the action that you want to be taking. Maybe you're failing, or maybe you're just messing up a little bit. Even that, it sucks, but like at the same time, like it's sort of enjoyable because you know that you're doing what you said you're going to do. You're taking action on your goals, and even
Hmm.
even if you're not doing it the right way, you can learn from that. You can move forward and grow. Um, so it's finding ways to just enjoy, the whole thing, to enjoy the process and not look at like the end result so much. Just like focus on the next day. Focus on like what you can do right now.
Right. And that's hard, like, not to focus on the result because we want a result.
Yeah,
It's a
definitely.
result as guys, we want results. I mean, as humans, we want to have the results from this, and when we don't see them, like, I think it intimidates us a bit more. We just gotta, like, say "F off," and don't stop thinking about those results.
Yeah, it's very hard. And that's why it's so important to practice delayed gratification, and it's something I'm still working on too. Like understanding that when you start something, you're probably not going to get a payoff right away. For most things that are worthwhile, it takes time, and it takes time to get the results you're really looking for. But and again, I think it comes back to what I said earlier in the stream. Like since everything's so instant nowadays, like you can look on your phone and get like instant gratification, you get that dopamine right away, kind of conditions us to think that, okay, I took action one day. Where's my result? Why is it not here yet? But the reality is, like, if it's something that real and something that fulfilling or big, it's going to take time. It's going to take more than a day or a week. It could even take years. So it's practicing that infinite patience and having that delayed gratification to when it finally does happen, it's going to be super, super fulfilling.
Right. Now, how do you think we could practice that delayed gratification? Do we just have to did we have to change our mindset on the way we think about, like, working on our goals and stuff like that? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's a good point. I think it's mostly mindset, like mostly thinking like, all right, you have a goal in mind, you have a timetable for like when you'd like to get there. It's really just like adding adding 5 years to that. Like you think it's gonna take 2 years, it's probably gonna take five. You think it's gonna take five, it's probably gonna take 10. Like it's being okay with the process and being okay with how long it truly takes. And that's why I think it's important to come back to like enjoying the process, because if you're not loving the journey, then the payoff isn't really going to be as fulfilling, because you're like, well, I didn't really like who I was during this whole thing. So it comes back to just finding ways to enjoy it all. But I think mindset is huge for that. And then I don't know. I always talk about meditation. Like meditation's big too. I mean, just learning
Mhm.
to let stuff go and learning to just like kind of just observe your thoughts or your doubts or your beliefs or your fears, um, and learning to just kind of like let those pass, because it's like anything else, they're gonna come and they're gonna go, but it's how you choose to move forward is what's gonna count. I mean, you don't have to listen to those thoughts. It's up to you. So I'd say
Right. No,
meditation.
no, that's true, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know, that's the one thing too I struggle with too, just I want that instant gratification and, or I want things to happen and, it doesn't happen, and I'd start to, like, doubt stuff, but I had to, like, either like, yeah, I could see how meditation I take, like, a deep breath or just kind of, just think
Hmm.
stuff over, but
Yeah.
you had to I kinda just look at things while it's a process and and again, this is for what I was talking about earlier when I'm not getting the results that I want. I'm thinking about, well, how much time am I actually putting into working on this?
Hmm.
Am I putting in the necessary effort? Am I making the right decisions?
Hmm.
And when I know I'm not doing it, that's when you have to you can't blame the world. You can only blame you for your lack of discipline for that.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like you gotta look in the mirror and be like, where am I falling short, and what do I need to improve on? And also recognize like what you're doing well, because I don't think as men we sometimes give ourselves enough credit with the good action that we take, like myself included. It's hard for me to look at all the things I've accomplished and be like, yeah, yeah, I actually did that. I'm proud of myself. That's
Hmm.
I would argue that's a pretty hard space to get to. Um,
Right. No, I'm
you
guilty of
know,
doing that too. Like, I think about sometimes if I go on a dry spell with some, not talking to a girl or something, a business thing, a bit, not getting a new client for a business. Like, I think, well, God, this sucks. I'm not going to get anywhere. But I fail to think about all the successes that I have.
right?
And that's a good point you made. That's just like I don't get why that is. Maybe because we're just so focused, like on or we just have that desire for something that we just kind of overlook all that. We get caught, stuck in that like autopilot, type of way of acting, or thinking that we just kind of that we kind of forget that we've had successes in our life.
Hmm. Yeah, like I think we become like almost numb to it in a way, or we just kind of ignore the progress we have made up to that point
Hmm.
because we think like, oh, well, I just want the next thing. I want that, I want the next level of the goal or whatever I'm chasing. And we sometimes forget all the stuff we've done up to this point to get where we are now. So like, eh, that's why I think it's really important to like reflect on not only your losses but your wins, like the things that you did do well, so you can really refer back to it's like, man, I'm not a failure. Like, look at all the things I've done. Look at the success I've gotten so far, because that's almost as important as looking at where you're falling short. I think.
Right? No, that's true. That's a very good point you just made.
Mhm. Not easy. It's definitely not easy.
Hmm. So what would you say then for today? Like, okay, to those guys who are just frustrated and they have something they want to do in life, what would you recommend they do today just to get started on that? Based off after all the stuff we've been talking about today.
Hmm. Yeah, based off of really everything we said, like, get clear with what you want to go after, and whatever goal that is, it could be, you know, talking to women, it could be getting in shape, it could be making model airplanes. I don't know, anything that you want to start doing. Have that identified, know what you're chasing, and then know why. Why is that important to you? Why do you want to get that dating life that you want? Why do you want that body that you want? Why is it
Can
important
I,
to
can I
you
interrupt
have?
you on that? What you said
Sure.
was very good. Because I would say you have to have your why. Well, why do you think we tend to not when we set a goal or thing, why do we tend to forget about it? It's like thinking of having that why in mind.
Yeah.
Why don't we think about that?
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. I think we sometimes, well, speaking for myself, I know that sometimes I'll like overlook the why because I'm so focused on the what, and that almost overtakes. Well, why did I start? Like, why did I make that a priority in the first place? Um,
Mhm.
because I think we're like you said earlier, we're so focused on the result, we're so focused on the all right, I want to get here, but we forget, well, what was the reason we even started? Like, what made me take that course, or what made me want to learn that skill or do this? Um, so I think it's a few things, but like for me, it's just like overlooking that because of the what, and not paying attention to the why. Um,
Right. That, like I said, that's a big distraction I
it
think that a
is.
lot of us have trouble dealing with. And
Hmm.
like I think because we desire that result more
Yeah.
than and that's why we lose the how should I say the ability to like kind of figure out think about our why and lose why we think why did we do this and why did we do that.
Hmm. Yeah, we lose focus of it, and we get so wrapped up in wanting to get to that place or get to that result that we sometimes forget what's the underlying like emotional reason we started. Like, why did we start doing it? And we've all been there. Like, I've been there plenty of times where I've either forgotten my why or had to almost redefine it because it wasn't strong enough. And it's a absolute critical point you need to have in the whole process, because if you don't know why, it's hard to keep it going when you don't feel like it, or when you're just down on yourself, you're doubting your ability.
Hmm.
That really keeps you going.
Right. No, that I agree on that. Yeah, and I had to realize that too. I mean, I kind of that's a good thing to do when you get frustrated, though, is you got to say to
Hmm.
yourself, like, why did you do this? Like our
Yeah.
James, like there was telling about his course, something I can tell him to get him motivated to do all that is why are you going to do this, and don't focus on the why, and that will kind of motivate you to get started on that, right? And
Hmm.
then you'll figure out a way that you can actually do your 40-30 module thing, within a decent time frame.
Hmm.
But you don't wanna procrastinate on that because because if you pull that off, like I said, later on, you're gonna, like, regret that you hadn't put the time into doing that.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I've done that before.
Yeah. Same. I mean, I was probably the most serial procrastinator you could think of, and I always put things off and did it the last minute. But like the sooner you do it, the better off you're going to be mentally and emotionally because you're like, man, I don't have that stress weighing me down of, oh man, I got to start this thing again. You just do it and you don't even think about it, and it just alleviates a lot of that mental bandwidth and saves you a lot of energy. To be honest,
Right? No, yeah. No, it does, yeah. God, there's so much to all this stuff.
yeah, there definitely is. There definitely is.
But but we gotta hold like I said, guys, we gotta, you gotta hold yourself accountable to this. If you really want something, if you really want to get this whatever goal, or if you want to get good at women, change your mindset, develop a business, finish this course, whatever, you got to be the one in the end to hold yourself accountable for it and figure out a way that you can discipline yourself to get whatever you need to do to get the job done.
Yeah,
So
100%.
I think, like, once we can all just kind of figure that out. Like I had to do that too sometimes when I'm trying to figure out, like, if I'm stuck somewhere, if I want to go do something, I have to, like, take it upon myself to actually go out there and do it. And I can't rely on someone else to do it. I could have someone to hold me accountable, like a mentor. Yeah, that helps out a bit, but in the end, I got to be the one responsible to go out there and take that action.
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, you could hire a bunch of coaches, you can invest in yourself all you want, but if you're not going to apply that and hold yourself accountable to doing it, taking action, then it's essentially useless because you're not doing it. You can't rely on somebody else to take the action for you. You got to be the one to do it.
Hmm. Right. No, that is so true. Like, and yeah, and like we gotta, like I said, if we're not feeling like we are up to doing something, like I said, you got to develop the discipline to go out there and do it anyways, no matter how you feel. Because if you don't have that discipline to do that, you're not going to take the proper action that is necessary. And like I said, I recommend you, like we said earlier in the stream, to start off slow with a simple step that can help you develop that discipline. And then as you get comfortable doing that, do something that's going to be a little bit more harder. Keep challenging yourself and pushing yourself. And you can apply this towards your goals, or like whatever it is you're working on. Like James, you can do this when you want to tackle your module program. Figure out that discipline for yourself that you could do to get through that program. You can figure it out, man. You have, like, the compass inside of you to get you through all that. You
Hmm.
just need to have some clarity. And so, yeah, it's definitely like, I think discipline is key. Like, I've been talking about this a lot on my shows lately because it's, like, very important, because I think that a lot of us just lack that discipline. I mean, I
Hmm.
lack it sometimes too, and I have to, like, I take the responsibility for picking myself up and, getting
Hmm.
on board with everything.
Hmm. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, discipline is so important, and like I'm really learning that as of late how important that is. Um,
Mhm.
but like it's critical, man. It's critical, like to have that consistency and to have that discipline, to go and show up, even when you're feeling like, man, I don't know if I want to go to the gym today, or I don't know if I want to go make approach today, or start that business today, or you got to do it. I mean, if that's part of your goals and you're really locked into it, you know why you're doing it. It's critical to build that discipline muscle and get yourself going when you might not be feeling up for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could say the same too. Like, you can apply discipline too when you have to say to yourself, "Well, hey, this person is being toxic in my life," and
Right.
so. I'm gonna, even though I don't want to cut this person out, like, you got to cut them out. I had to recently do that with a girl I told you about this girl. I recently had to just cut ties with this girl because of that, because of the games she was playing. Because I didn't
Hmm.
want that stress. I know what I want. I know who I am. I know what behaviors I'm gonna put up with. And so
Hmm.
you can also use that too, guys, to develop that, to cut certain people out of your life who are bringing you drama, who are just letting you down, because that's going to make you depressed too when you have toxic people in your life, when people who don't believe on you, especially when you meet women who don't respect you. You should love yourself enough to like not have to deal with all that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. Like discipline shows up in a lot of different applications. It's not just chasing your goals. It's also like holding yourself, like you said, to a higher standard, and surrounding yourself with people that are congruent with the kind of person that you want to be. Discipline. We sometimes like think it's a scary, like really intimidating thing, but the truth is that I think discipline is like a gateway to freedom. And like once you build that discipline, then that become everything else really becomes easier.
Right, yeah, no, that's true. And I agree that, like, once you can build that and stuff. I actually, one thing I did start to do this week. I didn't do it this morning though, but I started to make my bed every morning.
Yep.
I
Yep.
haven't done that in decades. And like I had an MMA fighter on my channel, and like his name was John Finch, and we were talking. I'll put a link up in the chat, and you guys can see it later. But we were talking about discipline, and he's like, I guess one of the things he trained himself to do for discipline is making his bed every morning. I'm like, I don't even do that, and like I told him I'm going to start doing that, and I started doing like that probably at the end of last week. Except I did I slept in a little late today because I was super exhausted after having some amazing sex with a girl last night. So I was like my energy level was low. So I got up this morning. I'm like, oh crap, I got to take care of this. But sometimes it's okay to slip off the bandwagon. That's going to happen. We're not perfect, but
Hmm.
we got to like get back on the bandwagon and apply that discipline into our lives. So remember that, like, you guys may like slip and fall when you're doing that discipline, but don't like get down on yourself for doing that. It happens. Just get back and do what you got to do to get the job done, so you're not sitting around getting nothing done.
Hmm. Yeah, that's an important point that you bring up. Like, even if you fail, or maybe you're not disciplined a couple of days out of the week, and you get down on yourself, that's okay. Like, just get back on it. Just keep trying. Like, keep pushing yourself and building that, because it doesn't take like it's not going to happen like in one day where you do something consistent, and you take the action. You're like, all right, I got discipline now. Like it's an ever growing type of thing, um, and it just takes time to build. It just takes time.
Right, exactly. Well, hey man, we're gonna get off the show here in a bit, but before we end it, any final words?
Um, Final words, I would say, kind of just to reiterate what we were talking about before. Like, if you have a goal in mind, know why you're doing it, know why you're pursuing it, and then take a small action in that direction. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing of doing something crazy intimidating. Break it down into easy doable chunks. Learn to be consistent, learn to follow through with what you're doing and executing on what you set out to do, and eventually you'll find yourself where you want to be. But it all takes time, so practice that patience. Learn to delay some of that gratification until the real payoff happens. And just stay
Hmm.
focused and just focus on yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's what I realized lately too. No, I mean, I realized, like, I completely, I don't know, like, I just realized how important that is, just to get shit done in life, I, and like I said, I have a lot of mentors to kind of, instill that like belief back into me, which is, it's a good thing to have,
Mhm.
for sure. And where can we find you at?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram. So it's just my name, Tino underscore Regano. You can also just search up The Sophisticated Man. That'll come up on IG. Same thing for YouTube. Just search up my brand name, The Sophisticated Man. And my website is thesophisticatedman.net if you want to check that out.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and I look forward to doing another show with you. These are always a blast, and Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. We'll be coming back with a lot of more great live streams together like this. And like, remember, guys, whenever we're doing any of these things, we're gonna remind you about this next time, and when we see people starting to go, on the view thing. But we want you guys to participate, and so if you have any questions or if there's anything about what we're talking about, there's a question you have, just like next time, just feel free to put something in the chat because we're here to help you out. And
Oh
we'll see
yeah.
you next time. And until then, you can check me out at my website at Command Your Confidence. I also have do my book's coming out soon, which is awesome. Just got to do a few more edits on that, which is awesome. So I'll be doing a link for that soon. And yeah, take care and rock on. We'll see you in a couple.